Prime Field.
What if one high school star didn't just reopen her recruitment? What if she exposed the entire business model of women's college basketball? Because when Oliviyah Edwards asked out of Tennessee, this wasn't normal recruiting drama. This was a 5-star dunking phenom detonating a blue blood roster so hard that ESPN reported Tennessee was left with just one player on the roster for next season. And suddenly, the one coach who's been loudly trashing the portal era, Geno Auriemma, looks like the guy who may have no choice but to jump into the chaos himself. So here's the real question. Did Oliviyah Edwards just become the recruit that can force a legend to break his own rules? Because Edwards isn't just another top prospect. She's the kind of player who makes highlight channels explode before she even gets to campus. A 6'3" forward with game-changing athleticism, a McDonald's All-American selection, and legit dunk contest buzz, plus ESPN's own scouting called out her ability to dunk in games after jumping passing lanes. That matters because in 2026, being elite is not enough. You have to be magnetic. You have to be marketable. You have to be your own mini media company, and Edwards checks every box. That's why Tennessee landing her in the first place felt like a statement. A historic brand, a new era, a potential superstar big. Then the floor fell out. April 6, 2026. Edwards requested release from her national letter of intent, and on the exact same wave of chaos, Tennessee's roster got so hollowed out the program was down to one player for next season, one recruit out, one roster nearly gone. One giant red siren for every powerhouse in America, but the biggest twist isn't Tennessee. It's UConn. Because Geno Auriemma has spent this spring sounding the alarm on exactly this kind of system. He said the portal and revenue sharing were the death of the mid-majors, and the death of high school players getting the same opportunities. Translation? Coaches trust proven college players more than teenagers now. So if you're a high school star, the sport is basically telling you, wait your turn. Unless you're so talented, the whole market bends around you. And that's where Oliviyah Edwards changes the equation. She's not just a recruit in this market, she's leverage in this market. She can make coaches rethink roster building overnight. She can make collectives think bigger. She can make fan bases panic, dream, and argue all at once. And if you're Geno, that's where the dilemma gets real. Because UConn is not desperate. That's what makes this so fascinating. This is not some rebuilding team chasing a miracle. This is UConn with Sarah Strong, the same Sarah Strong who Geno flat out called the best player in the country. The same Sarah Strong who just won the AP Player of the Year after leading an undefeated national title run. So now imagine this question inside every college basketball group chat. Would adding Oliviyah Edwards create a super team or a superstar traffic jam? Because there are two ways to see this. Version 1, UConn turns into an absolute cheat code. You pair the country's most complete current star in Sarah Strong with one of the most explosive young forwards in the country, and suddenly every rebound, every transition, possession, every help side rotation becomes a nightmare. Length, skill, brand power, championship gravity, that's not a roster. That's a content machine. But version 2 is where it gets messy, because stars don't just need touches, they need identity. And Geno has built dynasties on role clarity, buy-in, and everybody knowing exactly where they stand. If Edwards picks UConn, she's not walking into a blank canvas, she's walking into a machine that already has a centerpiece. Which means the sell is not come save us. The sell is come fit us. That is a completely different pitch. Now here's the part nobody talks about. This isn't just about headlines, hype, or dunk clips. It's about roster math. Because the portal can get you experience, but it also gets you risk. Short-term rentals, salary battles, fit problems, players who want touches immediately. Oliviyah Edwards is different. She gives you elite upside, long-term control, and a player you can build into your system from day one. And if you're Geno, that matters. Because taking a portal star means adapting your program to someone else's habits. Taking Edwards means shaping a superstar before those habits ever harden. That's why this isn't hypocrisy. It's strategy. If Geno targets her, it won't be because he changed his beliefs. It'll be because Oliviyah Edwards is one of the only players talented enough to make those beliefs bend. And that's why this is bigger than one commitment. This is a brand war. UConn offers championship pedigree. South Carolina offers the SEC power and Don Staley's Star Factory. LSU offers spotlight, swagger, and a proven ended NIL magnet environment. USC already proved it can stack star power and national attention, and every one of those pitches says something different about the future of women's basketball. Is the next era about fit, about money, about brand, or about going where your stardom can scale the fastest? That's why Edwards matters more than a normal top 3 type prospect ever would. She sits right at the intersection of 3 giant trends: the transfer portal, NIL era branding, and the shrinking patience coaches have for high school development. And Tennessee became the warning label. Because when the recruit left, the collapse looked even louder. That's the image every coach saw, not just a decommitment system shock. Now here's the really uncomfortable part for Geno. If he passes on Edwards, he's living his principles. He keeps betting on continuity, development, and the culture that got UConn here. But if Edwards becomes a superstar somewhere else, especially at another title-level program, then the portal era didn't just reshape the sport. It outmaneuvered the guy who warned everybody first. And if he does go after her, then the message is even louder. Even the sports' most tradition-first dynasty knows you cannot ignore a prospect who is this talented, this visible, and this commercially powerful. That's why I don't think Oliviyah Edwards simply reopened her recruitment. I think she exposed the new hierarchy of women's basketball. One elite player can now move markets, one decision can rattle a legacy program, and one coach's philosophy can get stress-tested in public. But there's one final twist. This story isn't really about whether Geno likes the portal, it's about whether the old recruiting logic still works at all. Because if a high school star is talented enough, famous enough, and marketable enough, she doesn't have to fit the system. The system starts fitting her. And that may be the biggest recruiting shift of this entire era. So did Oliviyah Edwards force Geno to target her? Maybe not officially, but she absolutely forced every powerhouse, including UConn, to answer the same terrifying question. Can you really afford to let this kind of player choose somebody else? That's the war. Not just for a recruit, for control of what women's college basketball becomes next. So, would you want Geno to go all in on Edwards or stay loyal to the UConn formula? Drop your take in the comments, hit subscribe for more college hoops breakdowns, and send this to the one friend who still thinks recruiting is just about basketball. And now it comes down to this. If you're Geno Auriemma, do you stay loyal to the old UConn formula? Or do you go after the one player talented enough to force a new one? Because Oliviyah Edwards isn't just another recruit, she's a test of what matters most now: fit, philosophy, or flat-out star power. So here's the poll. Should Geno target Oliviyah Edwards? Option 1, yes, she's too special to pass up. Option 2, no, UConn should stick to its system. Option 3, only if the fit with Sarah Strong is perfect. Drop your vote in the comments, subscribe for more college basketball breakdowns, and send this to the friend who thinks recruiting drama doesn't change championships.
Prime Field.